Alright, so the remainder of the quest steps, as far as we know, have now been completed. So, Game Review Part 1 was the end of the last video, and this video will start with Game Review Part 2. So for those of you that are looking for the beginning of this quest chain, going from Friend from Norvinsk, Parts 1 through 5, on the way through until this point, please check the last video, which will be in here somewhere for you guys to be able to click on, and that will guide you through from the beginning. So at the end of Game Review Part 1, we know that there's a password that's missing. In handing that in, when you hand it in, it starts a new task called Progression Difficulties Part 1. Now, Progression Difficulties basically says, like, wait a little while and I'll see what I can figure out. Once you've handed over the drive with the game to finish that quest, Progression Difficulties Part 2 begins. There is a 30-minute wait between the first part and second part, but once that comes back up, you'll be able to then do this step. So what he does is he hands you basically a passphrase that needs to be deciphered. And in-game with the new patch, there are now these new military flash drives that are specifically for this task. It seems like they're dropping everywhere in filing cabinets. Some people are getting like 5 or 6 of them at a rip, and you use these military flash drives, these new ones, to decrypt an 11-word password. Now, this takes approximately 7 or 10 minutes, depending on how much of an Intel center you've gotten built, but each one reveals one letter of an 11-word passphrase, and there is a chance that it fails. So at minimum, you will need 11 of these flash drives. That ends up revealing the word tetriandoc, and that is the passphrase. Once this is all done, when it's finished, you end up getting this quest item, a decrypted intel folder. You hand that decrypted intel folder in. It looks like this, the decrypted intel folder. Once you're able to then hand that in, you end up getting another copy of the game that is now up for Game Review Part 2, which is the next step of this quest chain. Now, the steps for Game Review Part 2 are pretty involved, but if you would rather just adventure your way through it, you can muddle your way through. It's not that big of a deal. Otherwise, you can check out the Tarkov wiki, which will have step-by-step images to get through the RPG, should you need to do that instead. But you work your way through the Game Review Part 2. Essentially what the steps are, though, just like from Game Review Part 1, where you start off, you get the sausage, take care of the dog, talk to the lady about the milk, talk to the elder. In this instance, this time, you're going to give the elder the password, and then the elder will write up the letter, and you work your way through. Then you get to a point where you can move forward a couple of times. There's a ghost that shows up. You say that you're not going to touch anything. You don't insult the ghost. Then go back to the village where the village is burning, and then if you talk with the group, the group will then attack you, and then you get killed, and that's the end of this section. Once you get through here, it starts the quest Last Spurt Pioneer. Now, this is a screen cap of it finally being finished, and the issue with Last Spurt Pioneer was the game item wasn't in the game. Seriously, for like 18 hours, just about everybody that had gotten to this point was searching feverishly throughout Reserve and a whole bunch of other places where the quest had basically said to locate the item disc on Reserve. You were supposed to look for like a part 2 or like a second part to the game because this one clearly wasn't completed. And then lo and behold, I ended up sending a message actually off to Nikita to ask if there was actually the item in the game because no one was able to find it. And then we had a technical update that happened about 2 hours ago, and then a cryptic message that appeared in a random streamer's chat from a BSG employee that basically said to keep looking in obvious places. So then eventually, finally, about half an hour after that, people started finding this disc on Reserve. The two most obvious places were here in Black Pawn on the second floor at the end of the hall. And then there's this clip from Mr. Sauer where he finds it in the back of the helicopter. This one seems to be like a 100% chance to spawn. Here's another perspective for the shelves in Black Pawn on the second floor, just in case you needed another point of reference. And the item that you're looking for looks like this. It's a disc with the number Roman numeral 2 on it. Now, the last step in this is to, once you hand that in, you get another copy of the game, a decrypted copy of the game, which is Game Review Part 3, where it says then to explore the disc's contents. So you go back to your rest space and punch this in and then do the text-based RPG one more time. Now, as of now, we're not sure if this is like the end of it all, but the reward from completing the third portion of this game, the third step, is this Targrad Tales poster. It's a poster to hang up on the wall of your hideout, if you want to. You also end up getting this achievement, Targrad Tales. He that steals honey should beware of the sting. And once you're able to complete it, you end up getting this victory screen that is written in Russian, but at the end it says, essentially, you got close. The secrets will be revealed a little later. Love a little. And then there's like this random image. It also says, come back. So I'm not sure if maybe there's another time gate on this for the next step, but this is as far as we have gotten through the quest chain, and there's actually like a genuine bona fide reward this time and an achievement. We don't know if this is ending or not, but the flavor text from Mechanic said, what, this ending? You can tell right away that Targrad is an allusion to Tarkov. It's unnerving. My acquaintance knew exactly how it would all end. Too bad he didn't spread his warning game sooner. Now all of it has already lost its meaning. There's like this overarching story of how like Tarkov went to shit. It's essentially that same type of story throughout all of Targrad Tales, but I obviously don't want to ruin that for you guys. And if you take the time to read your way through it, it actually is a pretty good, pretty cool story. Now, around a half an hour after you hand, or get the programmer's diary for that first section of decryption, around the time that you're supposed to go to reserve to start like looking for this second game disc, there is another quest that pops up during this chain called External Interest. Looks like this. It's from Fence. And it simply says to hand over a copy of the programmer's diary, and that is kind of where it ends. There isn't any other step here. Although it does look like there's maybe an alternative route, but it might be bugged, so we're not entirely sure kind of like what's going on with this one. But there is a way to get rid of the diary if you end up still having a copy of the diary from like the sacrifice section, where you could hand that in if you really wanted to and end up getting like some extra rubles and some fence rep. It's kind of it. Oh, and there's also this image of the city of Targrad, or the village city, something like that, of Targrad, where there's a pawn standing at the gate with a flag above his head, which I thought was kind of symbolic and interesting. Maybe that's why Black Pawn ended up having the disc in it. I don't really know, but you don't really see this until you're on part 3 anyway. So yeah, anyway, that's where we are with the quest chain. It's possible that the next step, if there is one, has another time gate associated with it, but they aren't letting on that there's an obvious next step. And obviously there's a reward and an achievement now where people ended up getting stuff from it. So maybe there's a next step. If there is, I will definitely end up adding more to this chain of quests or what have you. And yeah, until then, thank you so much for lending me your eyeballs, everybody. Please consider subbing the channel. If you don't want to do that, maybe come by a Twitch stream. That would be really dope. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much.